Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to understand about the resource behavior. Okay, so we understood about the resource syntax in step 2, and then we are going to understand about the resource behavior now. So in resource behavior, we are going to have different things a resource can behave when we are provisioning that resource in a cloud provider or wherever it is. Okay, so the resource, we can create a resource, update that resource in place, or destroy and then recreate, or even destroy a resource. So let's see what does this mean in a detailed manner from our presentation, right? So a Terraform resource, we can create a resource, and creating a resource that exists in the configuration but are not associated with a real infrastructure object in the state. Okay, so we will discuss more about state in the upcoming lectures, but here, if what does this mean? Creating a resource is nothing but resource information whatever you have defined, right? So a resource you have defined in your configuration. Okay, so let's see here. So this is the sample Terraform configuration file. You have defined this resource here. Okay, so what it says is to create a resource using Terraform, so it need to be existed in a configuration. So once it is present in the configuration and then not present in the real cloud environment, okay, so on the real cloud provider wherever you want to create it, so at that part of time this create resource will be triggered from Terraform perspective. Okay, why? Because it doesn't exist in the cloud, it is getting created for the first time, so this create resource will be triggered. And the next thing is destroy resource. Okay, so destroy resources that exists in the state but no longer exists in the configuration. Okay, so now let's introduce a little bit of state here. Okay, so whenever you create a resource, what happens is like it will store the information of the resource in your local file. Okay, so in your local file, in the sense there will be a file named terraform.tfstate, and it will create a local file here inside your Terraform manifest working directory stating that terraform.tfstate file will get created, and inside that file the resource information whatever you have created using Terraform will be stored. Okay, so what happens at this point is like it's a reference to the Terraform, or it's a underlying database for the Terraform stating that I have created this resource on the respective cloud provider. So that is called the Terraform state. So now what it is saying for a destroy resource here is, so destroy resources that exists in the state but no longer exists in the configuration. So whenever you create a resource, what happens? So it will be created in the cloud provider, and equivalent terraform.tfstate file will get created here. Okay, as part of that your configuration information is present in the terraform.tfstate file. So now what is your next step here? Your next step is very simple. Okay, so if you want to destroy a resource, so you can remove that information from your configuration. So if you delete this, so it is gone from your configuration. So now if you run the Terraform apply, so it is not present in your configuration but present in the Terraform state. So it is going to go ahead and then find that in the Terraform state and then go ahead and then destroy that resource in the cloud provider. Okay, so this is a very high level introduction. We are going to see it in a practical manner in a detailed flow. Okay, so the next thing here is update in place resources. Okay, so you already have a EC2 instance and then you want to update that. Example, you want to update the tag of your EC2 instance. So updating the tag doesn't mean you need to recreate the entire resource. Okay, so Terraform, what it does, it will do the update in place resources. So you already have a EC2 instance running in your AWS. So Terraform has the intelligence to update that in place resources by taking the decision in such a way that whether this is a in place update or a destroy and recreate update. Okay, so for few things it will do a destroy and recreate, and for few things it will do a update in place. Okay, so it's not the Terraform intelligence but it's the provider intelligence whatever it is built. So the AWS provider whatever is built for Terraform has the intelligence to decide that whether I need to do a update in place resources or destroy and then recreate those resources. Okay, so update in place, what it does is it will for that respective resource whatever the EC2 instance running, it will go ahead and then update or add some information from the configuration whatever you want to modify and then add it. And in the same way there will be one more behavior which is called destroy and then recreate. For destroy and recreate resources whose arguments have changed but which cannot be update in place. Okay, so for the arguments you have changed the arguments for your resource, but you can, for that arguments you cannot do a update in place due to remote API limitation, means due to that remote provider limitations. For AWS provider, whatever the remote API limitations you have, based on that, means like how the API is defined for that respective AWS resource, based on that only it is going to behave. So it is between provider and the remote APIs of that respective cloud provider. Okay, so now if you see here, for this example, destroy and recreate, right? So if you change your instances availability zone from 1A to 1B, it cannot always be a update in place, right? So why? Because you need to delete the instance in one availability zone and then recreate in another availability zone. So that comes under the part of destroy and then recreate the resource. So on a very high level, these are the resource behaviors: create resource, destroy resource, update in place resources, and destroy and then recreate. So now all these things will be tied to the state file, terraform.tf state file. So we need to learn these behaviors practically and also combine them in combination with Terraform State to get a broader picture of how a resource behavior will be when we are using the Terraform. Okay, so in our next lecture we are going to focus on practically implementing this create resource, destroy resource, update in place resources, and destroy and then recreate resource behaviors step by step. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.